You think you're fast. You're just afraid. Scalping isn't about speed. It's about running from silence. You stare at price like it's whispering a secret. But it's just a mirror. And you can't stand what it reflects. Every tick feels urgent. Every wick feels personal. You don't trade the chart, you trade your insecurity. You call it precision. It's just avoidance, dressed as analysis. You follow traders who move fast, because thinking slowly feels like falling behind. You mirror their setups, because sitting still exposes you. You don't study the chart. You orbit it, hoping their confidence will rub off, so you don't have to build your own. Every entry is a borrowed conviction. Every loss is yours alone. You scalp the 1 minute, not because it works, but because it moves too fast to catch your self-doubt. The price isn't moving. You are. You're flinching. You're twitching. You're disappearing. This isn't scalping. It's speed-based self-oblivion. And no one taught you that. You watched them win, so you copied their twitch and called it courage. They told you scalping is about discipline, but what you're really mastering is the art of erasing yourself. Every second you watch that chart, you shrink. Not because the price rejects you, but because you never entered with your own mind. You're not managing risk. You're managing doubt. You're not trading setups. You're trading screenshots, recycled convictions, stolen confidence. The worst part? It works. Just long enough to keep you addicted. You catch a few wins, just enough dopamine to stay plugged in, just enough proof to silence the question, is this even mine? It's not. That setup, that structure, that flick of the EMA, you never built it. You copied it. You sat there, watching someone else trust their screen, while you searched for a shortcut to trust yourself. But there is no shortcut, only loops. And the tighter the loop, the smaller you become inside it. You don't believe in your eyes, so you borrow theirs. You don't believe in your logic, so you lease someone's back-tested fantasy. But here's the trap. Every borrowed method demands you abandon your instincts. Not refine them, replace them, mute them. That's why you hesitate. That's why you overconfirm. That's why you double-click through doubt and call it entry precision. Your chart isn't a plan. It's a panic room. A place where decisions are made in someone else's voice, on someone else's terms. So you scalp, because longer time frames leave too much space, too much silence, too much room to hear what you don't trust in yourself. You call it flow. It's flinch. You call it reacting. It's rehearsing someone else's reflex. And every time it fails, you don't question the source. You question yourself. You punish the student instead of inspecting the script. So you go again, faster this time, smaller stop loss, tighter window. Maybe this is the one, but it never is. Because it was never you. You've mistaken motion for mastery. You've confused tempo with timing. And every time you copy someone's edge, you dull your own. You won't lose everything in one session. You'll just slowly vanish until the trades are clean, but you don't recognize who's placing them. This isn't about winning. This is about not being caught, not being wrong, not being seen thinking for yourself. You scalp to hide, and the chart lets you, until it doesn't. You won't notice the collapse at first, because scalping doesn't destroy in explosions. It erodes in tiny, precise increments. The losses are never big enough to feel like disaster, just frequent enough to anchor your identity to recovery. You don't trade to grow anymore. You trade to undo, to fix, to redeem the last bad entry, with one more that feels controlled. But it's not control. It's performance. You are on stage now, faking certainty at high speed, hoping no one sees the panic behind your confidence. You stop thinking in plans and start thinking in reactions. And once that shift happens, you're no longer the trader. You're the trigger. Tick, click, flinch, adjust, repeat. You shrink your time frames because the silence between candles feels unbearable. You tighten your stops because pain feels less lethal when it's precise. You reduce your targets because belief in a full move is too fragile to hold. And now you're scalping dust, risking dollars for pennies, risking clarity for motion, risking your identity for approval from traders who will never see you. You begin to chase not profits, but proof that you're not behind, that you're still in the game, that your method works, even if your mind doesn't. But the chart doesn't care. The chart doesn't pause when you doubt yourself. It doesn't wait while you check someone else's setup. It moves, and you chase. And slowly, your sessions become rituals, not strategies, loops of twitch and regret, masked as refinement. You know the feeling, that quiet panic right after a scalp that wasn't yours, when the candle moves, and you have no idea why you're still holding it. That's not trading. That's faith in someone else's ghost. And here's the cost. You lose the ability to think for yourself because you never practiced it. You outsourced it. You optimized for speed at the cost of sovereignty. You're not fast. You're just automatic. No resistance. No questions. No pause. And the day you do pause, the silence will be unbearable, because it will reveal what you buried under 1,000 quick wins and 100 tiny losses. Your edge isn't dull. It's missing, because you never forged one. You rented someone else's until your instincts forgot how to speak. This is what it costs. Not just your money, your autonomy, your trust in your own eyes, your presence in your own trades. And once that's gone, you can't get it back by trading faster. You'll just vanish quicker. Stop watching other people trade. That's the first cut. Right there. No more YouTube recaps. No more Discord setups. No more Telegram signals. Because every second you spend studying someone else's entry is another second you delay owning your own eyes. You think it's education. It's sedation. You're not learning. You're inhaling someone else's framework and hoping it'll overwrite your uncertainty. It won't. It'll deepen it. The more setups you memorize, the more doubt you collect. The more confirmations you chase, the less conviction you'll ever have. You can't build precision by copying rituals. You build it by slicing through your own confusion alone. You scalp to feel in control, but you've never once asked yourself, what part of this is actually mine? What part of this method would survive if the Wi-Fi cut, if the mentor vanished, if the signal stopped? Would you still know how to enter? Would you still trust your read? Would you even place a trade? Or would you just freeze without someone else's certainty propping up your screen? This is your collapse. Not because you're wrong, but because you're borrowed. And everything borrowed comes with interest. The longer you wait to return to yourself, the more debt your instincts collect. So today, here's your next step win. Trade one session with no external input, no live streams, no chat rooms, no copied bias, just your chart, your zone, your reason. And when the doubt spikes, let it. When the silence aches, sit in it. When your hands twitch, don't click. That pain, that's withdrawal. That's clarity, starting to break through. You've been trading with someone else's voice for so long. You forgot your own sounds like hesitation before it sounds like strength. Good. Let it feel weak. Let it feel slow. Because the scalper who finally slows down doesn't lose edge. He discovers it. This isn't a call to stop trading. It's a demand to stop disappearing. You don't need more strategy. You need more silence that you didn't run from. You won't rebuild trust in your execution by stacking more indicators, or adjusting risk, or watching pros scalp gold in real time. You'll rebuild it by proving to yourself that you can enter without asking permission. And if that trade loses, own it. If it wins, don't celebrate. Observe. Because the goal isn't to be right. The goal is to be real. For once. Just real. You never lacked strategy. You lacked ownership. Every scalp you copied wasn't a shortcut. It was a surrender. You weren't looking for precision. You were looking for someone to blame when it failed. But now you know every Twitch entry, every EMA flick, every quick 5-pip hit and run wasn't strategy. It was self-avoidance, masquerading as discipline. You don't need to trade slower. You need to stop hiding behind speed. Because if you won't trust your own read, then you're not trading, you're reacting on autopilot to someone else's tempo. And if your edge is just muscle memory of borrowed methods, then the moment it stops working, so will you. You don't need better entries. You need a mirror. You need silence that doesn't scare you. Because until you can stare at a clean chart and hear your own thoughts without flinching, you will keep scalping your way into nothing. This video confronts behavior. It does not define identity.